Okay, hey everybody, welcome to the weekly Inside Real Estate Success Strategies session webinar. Generally, these are, if you're first coming on, you're new to KV Core, generally these are kind of a little bit advanced. We touch on all different stuff, add-ons to KV Core, advanced traffic tutorials, conversion stuff. And today, what we're doing is a little advanced. It's a conversion focused webinar where we're going to talk about how to create a simple Google display remarketing campaign that helps get people to know, like, and trust you a bit more so you can convert more leads into conversations. I kind of just put the whole darn thing in the headline there. Annalisa, are you there?
I am here, and hello everyone. I did drop the link in for this doc into the chat, so you should all have it. And if someone could just pop in and just let us know that you can hear us and see Ryan's share screen, then we'll know we are 5 by 5. So we just need you to chat that in, please.
So as I said, these are a little bit more advanced. The actual content, what we're doing today, is pretty well mirrored in the Retargeting 101 course inside of the Learning Portal. So if we have any audio issues or if I move too fast on this live session, I'm definitely going to reference that course right there. And if you're just getting started with KV Core and you're not kind of ready for this next level stuff, don't feel shy about leaving the webinar. We don't want to waste your time. You know, we'd rather see you focus on the basic stuff inside of the Learning Portal. Fair enough, Annalisa?
I think so. And another thing to point out, if you're newer and you're not at this level, we do provide a lead generation service for you for Google to help you get those leads popping in while you're learning. So you have options for sure. And you can learn more about those within the Core Learning Portal by clicking the cap at the bottom left of your dashboard.
Yep, right down there. I'm clicking it right now.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
And so, looks like we're heard and seen. So thank you so much, Thomas.
Great. So let's jump in. I'll talk quickly. You plugged a nice graphic in here. What is Google remarketing? I'll kind of make this bigger on the screen for a second. And basically what remarketing, retargeting, you might have heard those terms used interchangeably, but it's basically where somebody visits your website, a little cookie is dropped or a pixel or something like that. The prospect leaves your website and then they start to see your ad on other sites. So what we're talking about specifically today is remarketing on Google's display network. And Google's display network is a vast, it's on millions and millions of sites network. So in your local market, there are many, many impressions available and opportunities to show your face, your company logo, real estate offers to people who would have visited your website. And you can also use a display network for cold traffic as well, people who haven't been to your website yet. But we're going to focus on the approach today where somebody visits your site and then you start to show them a banner ad on other sites. What I'm going to show you right now, I'm going to drag it in the screen here, is a retargeting ad that I'm being shown on Zero Hedge, where this is from Outreach. I was on their site last week, and you can see I'm seeing a banner ad up here. This is an ad on the Google Display Network, and then over in the sidebar, I got one, and if I scroll, I'll probably see it again or another Google display at some point. And what this allows you to do, in the case of Outreach, I looked at them for about 3 minutes. I was evaluating a tool like theirs, checked them out, and totally forgot about them. But what this allows you to do is kind of remind people that you exist. So that's the first one. They might have hit your KV Core website and were searching for properties, and they just kind of left and went to Zillow or did whatever else, or forgot they were even looking for a house. So showing an ad like this that's branded to you, that just reminds them to come back to your site, is a way to increase the conversions that they'll actually become a lead. And the more powerful thing it does is it also makes you seem bigger than you might be. Outreach is a big company. I was already aware of them. But in the case of a small, you're a local agent, you might have only had 100 people visit your website in the last month. But to those 100 people, you can start to seem really big and start to build top of mind status and let people know, like, and trust you in a really leveraged, automated way for what amounts to pennies per impression. Every time, it's probably less than a penny for this banner ad to show up from Outreach or for you to show an ad to somebody who's on your site. Did I explain that pretty well, Annalisa, kind of what it does and where it shows up?
Yeah, I believe so. And I did see, I think there were 3 of those for Zero Hedge. That was pretty cool. And the other thing I noticed is they have the continuity of color and font and branding. So you can recognize immediately, you can track that purple and blue and white, purple, blue and white. So it's very consistent. I think there was another one on the bottom right, maybe.
Yeah, they had another one down there as well.
Yeah.
So
pretty handy, pretty nice.
Yeah, it's an opportunity to brand yourself, especially, on the brand building side. Another thing this does that I didn't just mention is Zero Hedge isn't the only site. I just grabbed it as an example, but your ad might show up on ESPN.com or CNN. And to somebody who's not as savvy, you look kind of like a big deal. You're borrowing the brand recognition of an ESPN.com, and you're like, whoa, that dude's got his ads running on ESPN.com. When really all you did was go and you did what I'm about to show you, and you just ran a simple retargeting ad. So it can be powerful stuff. And the whole goal here, of course, is to increase the chances that when somebody becomes a lead on your website, that they respond to one of the smart campaigns and some of the other automation that are going out from KV Core. So this is sort of an enhancement and a complementary thing that increases those conversions, to give you the why behind all of this. Okay, so that's that. If anybody has any questions, go ahead. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna show you a quick demo and remind you that everything I'm about to do is kind of broken down into smaller videos inside of that course in the learning portal. But I'll show you how to kind of do this right here. The first thing you need to do, of course, is get a Google AdWords account. And they changed their name from AdWords to Ads, but if you just Google Ads, Google is in the business to sell you advertising. So it's gonna pop right up. You can create a free account. I'm not gonna go into all that right now, but I'll assume that you're at the point where you have a Google AdWords account and you're able to jump into an account as I am doing right now. Okay, and when you're in the account, the first thing we need to do is we need to get something called the global site tag installed in our KV Core site. And this is basically the little piece of gobbledygook snippet that you see on the screen that lets Google see who is visiting your site so that they can then show them ads. And the way to do this, I always struggle with this, and I've done this 100 times probably, like finding where it's at. But I'm gonna slowly show you where you're gonna go. It's up here in Google. You go to Tools and Settings, and what you need to actually do is create a conversion right here. And if any of you guys listening know a better way to do this, tell me, and I will stand. This is the way I always do it. I go to Conversions right here, and I actually just create a new conversion event using the plus sign, and go to Website. And in this case, I'm not really tracking a conversion, but I'm going to track a page view. I'll call it page view. And then you have to click Don't Use a Value. This third part. And remember, this will be recorded. I realize I'm kind of moving along here. I don't expect you guys to be building this while you're watching that. This is more so that you kind of just see the flow one time, you put it in the back of your head, and it makes more sense when you go and do it yourself, and you can reference the recording. And then I click, and it says install the tag yourself. And then it says here, you get this global site tag. And we're not going to use the snippet. So this is the tag that I'm looking for. I kind of highlight it here. And this is what I'm going to copy. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bounce on into KV Core. And I'm going to go to Web and IDX. And then I'm going to go to Edit Settings. I'm not actually in my site. Let me go to my site here so I don't, not that it matters, but here we are, we're in my site. And if you, that brings up a good point, you have the ability, you can do this if you are a team leader or a broker, or maybe you're the person who runs all the tech at your company and you're listening, you can set these campaigns up for everybody individually at your office. And, could be an interesting value add or recruiting hook to offer such a thing. It's a little more advanced, right? And not everybody has time to set this kind of thing up, but you can do it in a few minutes for everybody on your team if you want. But anyway.
I do have a question, if I could.
Yep.
So Eugene is saying, hey, why did you choose the page view versus lead option?
Great question. So I'm not really tracking anything here. I was just trying to get to the global snippet. If I was trying to register a conversion to a lead with what I'm doing here, I would have picked lead. But what I'm trying to do is get the snippet installed so that I can then build an audience. That'll be more clear in a minute. But it's a good question. And when you're building actual conversion snippets, then yes, you would have picked lead if you're trying to track leads with what you're doing.
Awesome.
So it'll make sense. So I'll show you where the conversion snippet would have gone here as we do this, because it's a similar thing. So I clicked Edit Websites, scroll down, and it's going to be about halfway down here. You're going to get to this thing where you have custom header, custom body, and custom footer. And then you're going to have this conversion code right here. Okay. And where we need to put our global site snippet, you're going to see our friendly Facebook pixel hanging out here. I'm going to put that in the header. Just come down to the bottom of whatever's there, and I'll put that in. Now, for whoever asked that question, if you were wanting to run cold PPC, yeah, it brings up a good point. I'm sorry, guys. Yes, track the lead, right, and put the conversion pixel in here because you are going to want to see what leads you got from this effort. I was just focused on getting the remarketing tag, but the person who asked that question, I thank you because it is a very good point. So the actual code snippet here, the event snippet, it is not going to hurt you to put that into the conversions tag as well. And I'll amend the actual course to make sure that this point is made as well. So thank you for bringing that up. So yeah, I'm going to put my conversion snippet there. And what that'll do is it'll allow us to see on these actual ads, whether we're doing remarketing or we're doing cold Google search or Google display ads, it'll track conversions for us. So best practice is to put the conversion pixel in and get the global site snippet in, global tag in as well. So that's sort of like part of the preparation. Get your global site tag in. If you need any help at all getting it installed, you can email advertising@insiderealestate.com. That's my team at Inside Real Estate, and we can help you kind of navigate that if you need us to. Okay. All right. Next thing that we're going to do once we've got that snippet installed is we're now going to create an audience. And I'm going to go up to my tools and settings again. And I'm going to go to Audience Manager right here. And I'm going to add a remarketing list. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a rule that everybody who visits my website ends up on this list. So we'll call it All Site Visitors. Now, the title of this webinar was sort of a simple, this is like a very straightforward, we target all your visitors. Just know that it's possible to build audiences once you have that global site tag installed. You can build audiences of people who visit a specific page on your site, say they visit a specific listing, they visited your recruiting page, maybe they visit sell.php, which is the what's my house value page. It's possible to slice and dice and set up separate ads for all those audiences. But for today, the basics are going to be that the URL contains, and I'm just going to go for my whole URL now. This one, my whole URL is ryanhartman.kvcoresuccess.com. And this needs to contain that. So I don't even need to put the whole thing in. You can just put anything in that'll fit your URL. You can do the exact, you do starts with, ends with, but I find contains will just catch everything as long as you know that every page on your site is going to follow that rule. So this is what I'm going to use. And then the initial list size, include people from the past 30 days. It'll go back and grab people if you already had the snippet installed, or I can start with an empty list. It's kind of irrelevant because I didn't have it installed already. Membership duration, this is kind of important. How long do you want to leave people there? You can leave a maximum of 540 days, about 1.5 years. I'm going to leave people there about 6 months. You can play with this number. I don't have any big reason for saying 180 days, just other than I know that people take a while to make a decision, but also that I don't want to go 540 days out because it might be too long to keep showing them the same ad. So I'm going to let them kind of drop off the list after 6 months. But I don't have any hard data or real advice on that. Just pick a duration that kind of makes sense to you. Okay, so I did all site visitors. I now have my audience. It showed up right up top here. And now what I'm able to do, as soon as you do this, you have the global site tag added and you have created your audience, Google is going to start to automatically add everybody to that audience. And what you're able to do is you can go right away and create an ad that targets that audience, even if nobody's on it yet. Google will sort of automatically start showing anybody who then visits your website and lands in that audience, it'll start showing them the ads. So that's sort of the setup. Let me go back to the doc and make sure I didn't skip anything. Any other questions, Annalisa, right now?
Well, I'm fixing the doc link. I forgot to do that prior, so I'm going to get that pushed out to everybody. But otherwise, let's see here. Oh, Jill is asking, the URL, does it have to be your site, or can you put any site?
Any site that the pixel's installed on. So it's going to be, this is about retargeting. So you're going to need to be able to have the pixel installed. It is possible Google will let you target visitors. I don't know if directly of other sites, but there's other kind of audiences and matching and all kinds of stuff they have. It's kind of outside of the scope of today. But yeah, you're going to need the pixel installed. So if you were doing this for, as I mentioned a minute ago, say you were doing this for a separate campaign for every agent at your company, you can go off their subdomains, right? So you build an audience for Joe, build an audience for Susan, and so on, based on the subdomains in their URLs, and run them separate ads. Okay. So that's sort of the setup step. We installed our global snippet, and we built a custom audience. We built an audience based on the URL. And now let's get to the fun stuff. We're going to create a display ad. And one of the nice things about Google's display network is that over the years, Google, they want to take our money here. They have made it really easy to create one of these display campaigns. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to click display on the left side. We're going to click a plus sign to create the campaign. And here's where you can select the goal, going back to that question about having the conversion pixel installed. I actually personally get a little confused about this. Google kind of has these wizards that guide you through the right settings based on what you're trying to do. And in this case, I really think that the point of a retargeting campaign is less about generating leads. I'm going to be less concerned with the cost per lead off of these ads because they're kind of probably already going to be in my system. And what I'm more concerned with is brand awareness and reach, that people know who I am. But at this page, I don't think you could even just do create a campaign without a goals guidance and leave it as is and pick display. So that's what I'm going to recommend, is just stick with out of goals guidance and then choose display as the type of ad. And then we have the option here to do a standard display campaign. And very interesting, guys, you may have seen this yourselves. We may even be doing this to you as a company because we use this internally at Inside Real Estate. You can also display email campaigns inside of Gmail. So it is possible, just put this in the back of your head, to target people in their Gmail inbox. And there's all kinds of great things you can do there. You could target, say, if they have a competitor's company name going into their email inbox, you could show them a Gmail campaign. But I'm kind of getting distracted here. We're going to stick to standard display campaign.
Easy now.
Yeah, easy now. But it is very cool stuff. I mean,
if
you see yourself in Gmail, up at the top, you'll see kind of sponsored ads. They look like regular emails.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's possible to do that. You probably could. I haven't tried it in a while. You could probably target Zillow traffic, Realtor.com. Somebody is actively looking at Zillow. You could do a cold display campaign, target those. But as you said, easy now. Let's stick to the task at hand. All right. So we're going to stick to a standard display campaign. Select the results you want to get from the campaign. So I'm going to just take it to my website. I'm going to put down below, you see this link. That's kind of what I want people to go to. Now, you might have, and I'm going to leave this open to interpretation, but you might decide that you want to take people to a specific blog post on your site that introduces you to them, if you want to go kind of next level. So they've been to your site once, they bounced off, and then you could say, hey, come back and check out my top 5 links for finding a great deal. And then you have a blog post with those 5 deals links. You can get very creative with this. But I'm going to keep it simple and just go straight back to my website to get to the call right back. So I'm going to give them my homepage URL here. Give that a minute to load. We'll call this, you can name the campaign whatever you want, just kind of something that you'll be able to remember. So I'm just going to call this retargeting demo from webinar. so I know it was in my account. Now locations, you can choose to do everybody who visited your website. So in that case, I'd probably leave it to United States or United States and Canada. Or you can say, hey, I only want to let this campaign target people who actually live in my area who were on my website. So I might do St. Petersburg, Florida. This way, it's totally up to you. You're probably going to be fine if you have a small audience, leaving this broader just to the whole United States in the beginning, and then refine down more local later. If you are in a destination area like St. Pete, Florida, or somewhere where people are coming from out of town a lot, what I just did might not make sense. I might want to keep showing my ads to the guy in Philadelphia who's trying to get warm for the winter. So we'll leave it at United States. Location options, Google tries to trick you. I recommend just go ahead and choose people who are, see how it says the top one by default is people who show interest in your targeted locations. I've talked to some Google reps who are like, definitely don't allow that to be toggled. And I'm like, why do you have it by automatically? And a few guys are telling you like, well, we're in the business to make money here. So anyway, I've had Google reps tell me to pick the middle one. All right, pick the middle one right there. You'll waste a little money if you don't keep it a little more tight. And there's probably cases where you do show interest in, but keep it people in or regular in your targeted location. Now the bidding, what do you want to focus on? Conversions. I'm going to focus on viewable impressions. I just want to, again, for this specific type of campaign, I just want people to see my ad and see my face multiple times and see my brand, right? So I'm not too concerned with generating a lead on this. Okay. Bid on view, pay for, we'll leave that all the same. The average you want to spend each day, I'll set my $5. You don't need to spend a lot to start getting impressions here. We'll call it our ad group basic retargeting. You can have separate ad groups with separate ads and get more sophisticated. Best practice, if you're just getting started, just do one ad group with one ad inside of it to start and just see how it goes and refine from there. Now here's where we're going to get down to the nitty gritty, and we're going to choose the audience. And you're going to notice there's lots of different stuff you can do here with targeting, but the actual targeting we want to do today is we want to target people who are in that audience that we built. So we go down. I just did this the other day, guys. I'm stumping myself here. There is a spot in audiences where you pick the actual audience you just built.
Can you browse it?
It's right here. It's the all visitors Google ads right here.
Gotcha.
I think because I've been doing this recently, they're like automatically showing me some of the latest stuff I did. I'm in an account where I'm targeting, it's for thanks, I'm targeting some other stuff.
Gotcha.
But basically, you're trying to find that audience you just built, and it should be available as an option, okay? There's always something live, right? But choose your audience for retargeting that you built. If you want to do cold traffic with your display ads outside of retargeting, then that's when you can start to choose some of these other options. Now, the demographic targeting, I would leave it all selected. I've tried to get a little fancy with this in the past, and I've never had a good experience with it. For whatever reason, if I start to choose like top 10 or 11 to 20% of household income, my ads just don't run. I get like zero traffic. Not sure why, but just leave it open to begin with. And then you can probably try to go back later and optimize based on what you're seeing the data tell you who's clicking on your ads. But in this retargeting example, it's just overthinking it. Okay, so we've chosen our targeting. I've got all my website visitors seeing this site, seeing this ad set up as the audience, and now we can create the ads. Any questions right now, Annalisa?
Just unmuting. Well, a couple of people were asking, hey, is this going to be added to the marketplace? So this will be done for us on Google Ads with KB or KB Core?
So we're underway with Facebook. We have the beta test going. So anybody who orders Facebook, we're going to have retargeting built in.
Yep.
the Google is in testing right now, but I don't have any real sense. It's a little bit more of an ambitious project, so I don't have any real sense, but yes, there are plans for both those things.
And a couple of folks are saying, hey, does it matter where we put the snippet in the header body footer? So I did include on the documentation the links for the K plus or conversion plus instruction and the links for the KV core instruction. And of course, please always reach out to support if you have questions or you're really not quite sure. But that should help you get that going. And this will be replayed. A couple of people are saying, hey, where can we find this? So you can always find this at www.insiderealestate.com/replays. And I also drop these into the discussion group. Plus, they're sent out to you via the chat system on your dashboards and emailed. So you got a lot of stuff coming at you. We'll make sure you get it.
Yeah, we just revamped the replays page, so things are a little separated out. This will probably fall under traffic and conversion tactics right here, but it'll be there. Okay. So, okay, we're doing pretty good here, right? We've got our global snippet installed. We create our audience. We just went in and started creating our ad, and we set who we're going to target. We set our budget and all that other stuff. Now let's create our ads. So I'm going to click New Ad, and you can upload your own designs. I'll put some resources on the doc if you want to hire a designer from, say, Fiverr.com. If you want to use a service like Banner Snack, I'll put links to all those things. But as I said a few minutes ago, Google makes it really easy on the creative side of things for you to get an effective ad live quickly. So what I'm going to choose is responsive display ad, the first option. It pre-filled my URL because I entered it before, but you can enter that there. And what you have the ability to do is it says add images and logos right here. You can simply upload your own images, or you can use stock images. Now, before this, I kind of went and took just my LinkedIn profile. Here we go. Ryan. I grabbed the logo of the company I'm at right now and a picture of myself, just as a simple example. Click save right here. Oh, and then after you upload them, you have to kind of choose what to use them as. I'm going to use this as the image in my ad. And then this one I'm going to use as my logo. And yeah, sometimes you run into this. You got to like kind of size the logo right, and the dimensions weren't correct here, but I'm just going to run with it here for the live webinar. But you may find that you need to kind of make the image like square for the logo. Now, as soon as I upload those, can you see what's happening sort of on the right side there? Google's kind of building different versions of my ad on the fly. And what's nice about the responsive is they're actually going to show multiple versions of the same ad, of your ad based on what you put into the creative. So I've uploaded some images. My headline can be anything I want. It could be Ryan Hartman, active Florida real estate. Now, what does this do?
I think we're losing your audio just a titch.
All right. So when this happens, it's usually because of Google. How is it now?
Better.
Okay. When I do too much in Google AdWords and GoToWebinar, it happens. So I'll try to take it easy. Okay. So the text, I put my name. You can have multiple headlines that Google will automatically test for you. My long headline, is it slowing down again?
Only when you type and talk at the same time. So, you know.
So, you know what I'm going to do here, Annalisa? I'm not going to actually type in the text of my ads because I think people get the gist here. You're just going to want to make simple calls to action, like come back to my site, show you URL, put your name, and in the replay, I can put some snippets of example headlines in the document to use. But the more important part here, I think, is to just get the flow of how this works and understand that once I put all these variables in, Google's going to automatically create different variations of ads and start showing them. Fair enough?
Yes, and I'm trying to dictate all this in the doc as well. So I think we're on a good.
Good. Yeah, it's slowing down because they are trying to render all my ads and
At
it's
the same
bogging
time.
down the computer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to click create campaign. It's asking me for my ad group bid. For CPM, you can use like $5 CPM, and over on the right, it'll kind of show you how many impressions to expect. I probably bid a little high, but you can kind of use what they show you on the right side. The more important thing is going to be not to set your budget too high at the beginning, and then kind of tweak based on what you're seeing.
And while you're typing, there is a great question from Brittany. Can you create a targeted Google ad for people who you have in your CRM, regardless of if they have visited your website or not? For example, can I just upload my CRM as a list and create an ad for them? And I would think yes, because you'd be creating a custom audience, and then you could probably create a duplicate audience, right?
Definitely. And Google has all kinds of, just like you can with Facebook, you can just upload that list into audiences. They'll also build you similar audiences based on that audience automatically. Cool. Yeah. I need to get with Artie, who does a lot of the performance marketing here. And we kind of need to make a whole course. There's so much you can do with Google. So that's it. The campaign is live. I'm gonna click continue. And usually within a few hours, your ad will start to show. And one of the coolest things about all this is probably within a week or two, you're going to be out somewhere with some friends, and you're going to be like, dude, I see your ads everywhere. You must be killing it. And that's sort of the effect. They start to see your face, your picture, your brand, and you might only be spending a couple of bucks a day to get this done. But to this small bunch of people, you start to look famous. I want to give one more pro tip, not pro tip, but a money-saving tip to everybody watching. And especially for those of you guys who have kids and you probably hand them your phone, like when you're at the diner sometimes, right? You know what I'm talking about? Like you hand the kid the phone and they start playing on their apps. They start playing apps, and you know how ads pop up on apps?
Oh yeah, I see it. I see yours and Shane Bond all the time on my apps. It's awesome.
So, well, it's awesome for you. It's fun, but it's not fun
right.
if you forget to turn off mobile targeting and specific app targeting, then you're gonna have 4-year-olds clicking your ads.
Your dollars get sucked into those.
Right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to the ad. I kind of went to the campaign, and if you go down to where it says devices, you see I have computers, mobile phones, tablets, and TV screens.
Mm-hmm.
It is possible to show ads on mobile, but not on apps, but I forget. It's a little complicated. Google makes it hard. But what I generally do is, and this is based on like data that what I've seen, is that I end up spending a lot of money on mobile and not get a lot of conversions. So I decrease the bid 100%. I basically say, that's the way you tell Google not to show it on mobile phones. So decrease 100%. And this will save you money. And remember, the point here is just that people see you. So when they're on their desktop, when they're hanging out, they're going to see your picture on a desktop. And there's actually a better chance that when they click to your website, they can take more meaningful action. They're not like standing in line at the grocery store, just casually browsing, right? So I would recommend you turn off these other objectives. I turn off tablets. The TV screens is very interesting. I watch a lot of YouTube on, that my kids do too, on the Roku. On the smart-enabled TV, and you've probably seen this before. I would leave TV screens on. It's really cool.
I see them all the time on my LG. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't have a lot of data on that, whether you're waste, but it is neat to see. You see your own ads on TV. Maybe it's more of an ego thing, but you will see yourself here and there, and especially if you're doing video ads on YouTube. So that's that. Any other questions, Annalisa? That was sort of the basic run through.
Yes, Adrian is asking, does this only work for promoting yourself or a website, or will it show your listings as well and continue to retarget with those listings when people click on them on your website?
So yeah, I've kind of given you the do-it-yourself approach to this. You could definitely have people come back to view listings, and that is going to be a best practice would be to do an ad that's showing your brand, maybe do a separate ad that shows, price reduced. We do not have, if the question is about dynamic retargeting specific listings, that's a lot more complicated, and we don't have that set up right now. But you're gonna get 95% of the way there, just showing, the logo and your URL again, and making some interesting niche offers back to specific property searches like price reduced, just listed, motivated sellers, kind of all the things we talk about from week to week on these sessions.
Awesome. I'm gonna just scroll through these one more time to make sure I didn't miss anyone. Doesn't look like there are any unanswered questions here.
So the last thing I'll leave everybody with is, this is sort of one piece of something you might call a cross-channel. You might have heard that term before, omni-channel approach to marketing your business. KV Core and Conversion Plus out of the box, they're going to do follow-ups with email, text, all the automation that goes on with the CRM. And then you have the opportunity these days to use automation like I just showed you. You have Google, you have Facebook. You can do the same thing on Twitter. You can also do, I'll plug Thanks.io. You can also retarget with postcards in the physical mail. And Thanks.io isn't the only game there. You have Click to Send and other solutions. And if you start to, approach it like, hey, I'm going to add in as many channels as I can, without driving yourself nuts or breaking the budget, you're going to see your conversion rates go up. If people are seeing you, in their email inbox because they're getting drip campaign follow-ups, and then later in the day they're seeing you in a Google banner ad, and then next week there's a video of you on Facebook doing a local market update because you did a retargeting ad that does that, it really starts to build that know, like, and trust factor, and it will lead to good things. For those of you who have larger teams, or you're running whole brokerages and you're concerned with market share, for example, some of the stuff you have to be doing these days because your competitors are coming on and they are doing it. I would say that right now there is an opportunity to start to get ahead of the curve on that still. If you become the first one who's hitting 5 or 6 channels, it's the term I like to use is virtual signs in the ground. Right, back in the day, you used to drive through neighborhoods and you'd be like, oh, this I got a list with this brokerage because they got like every other sign is them, like 2 out of 3 signs is them. You can kind of get the same effect here in a leveraged, automated way by using these retargeting methods.
And one more question. So why would we recommend Google DIY as opposed to companies that can do the retargeting for you?
So it's going to be cheap. Well, I don't. If you can find, I don't know, I guess a big player in the space would be like an AdWorks or somebody. If you can find somebody who does it and you're happy with their results, definitely push a button and get it done. This is for people who want to do it themselves. Now, I will caution, there are, how do I say this without being, a lot of the companies out, remember that a lot of companies out there who are selling you solutions like this, they're building in profit for themselves. So just be mindful that, ask how much of your ad spend, for example, is going to your ads. And keep in mind, for you geeks out here, my people, that doing it this way lets you just try all different kinds of stuff and have a lot of fun, and get really granular. If you go hire a company to do this, they're going to kind of give you the cookie cutter approach.
And also, is there a company we would recommend? So we do have the services available via KV Core and K+ to run the Google and Facebook advertising for you. And Ryan, if you could pop into maybe the Learning Center, we can show where that's located. That's where you can learn more about this as well, Adrian.
Yeah, so the actual, right now, we're just not selling the retargeting. I don't want to mislead people.
Yeah, the retargeting is being pushed out, which is super exciting. We're developing it. So, but we do have the Google and Facebook advertising available right now.
Yep. So it's in the learning portal down on the bottom left, and I gotta remember where it's at.
Growth strategies middle, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, Inside Real Estate PPC Advertising Tour, right there. So by the end of this year, for sure, it'll probably be sooner, we will be offering retargeting, at least on Facebook and Google. There are plenty of yeah, you can go, plenty of PPC providers out there who can help you set this up. Annalisa, if you go to the, if we have our ISA services thread in the Facebook
Yeah.
group.
Oh, I'll get that in here too. Yeah.
Yeah, many of those people are familiar with this or can get you hooked up with the right person to get this done for you. But I'll tell you, it's not that hard. I mean, it took us, we just talked for 40 minutes, but I was doing a demo. Once you do it once and you understand the flow, you can set this up in 5 to 10 minutes by yourself. I really don't think it's that complicated, but that's me.
Well, it's one of those things that looks daunting, but once you do it once or twice, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's not as big of a deal. Yeah.
And
Usually.
I think it's a good thing to do. It gives you insight. It just going through this exercise kind of helps you understand the underbelly of how modern digital advertising flows work. And it gives you, as you do these kind of things, it opens your eyes to opportunities in other ways that you might not have seen before. So if you can find the time, give it a shot. And then you might decide, hey, I don't have time to manage this. I'm going to go hire somebody, but at least you'll know what you're buying.
And also, as I'm thinking about this, we did an interview with a broker with Ingalls & Volker about a week ago, and he lives and breathes and eats Google. So I'm going to go ahead and drop his interview information into this as well. I highly suggest you watch it because he speaks to how he is constantly watching and maintaining his Google ads, and it's pretty interesting, along with other business practices. So I'll make sure to drop that in as well.
Yep. Well, thank you, everybody. This is a great turnout today, and thanks for all the questions. If you have any suggestions for these live webinars, feel free to just drop it in the Facebook group. It's facebook.com/groups/conversion. I believe it's the URL that we still have there. But all of this stuff we frequently talk about in that group. And if you ever have any questions, there are a lot of people who know as much or more about this stuff as I do, as Annalisa does, who will help you out in the group. We have a very helpful group. So definitely hop in there, say hello. If you have any issues at all, ask. Like Kate Smith here. Asking this question. So that's
awesome.
it. We good, Annalisa?
I think so. Thanks so much for being here, everyone. We're going to get this formatted and dropped into the Facebook group on the replay site at insiderealestate.com/replays. It'll be emailed and dropped into your chat. So stay on the lookout and have a great day.
Hey, everybody.
Bye.